This lunar eclipse in Aquarius changes everything because on August 27th or 28th, depending on where you are in the world, this is when spiritual dreamers, humanitarian hearts, and powerful voices are making some serious noise, like the lion roaring. And that tension that you feel in your body right now, well, I feel it too. And it's because everything is coming through. This is a time when there will be shadows revealed, and those who are truly prepared will be transformed, and the truth will come out. Your personal truth, global truth, especially truth around leadership and who should be leading humanity right now and who needs to step aside. So that tension you've been feeling, because for months, the sun and all of the other personal planets, basically all the inner planets from Saturn all the way to the sun, have been on one side of the sky, and the dividing line, well, that is the north and south nodes, creating a line across the sky that only Venus has dared to cross. But now things have changed. And when I'm talking about where the planets are, I am talking about in the constellations in their full sizes. This is not your regular tropical zodiac. So I just want to let you know that everything is changing. And by the end of this video, I am going to share with you one simple technique to identify what is truly happening for you on this planet during this incredible moon. My name is Beth Hansen, and I've been a true sidereal astrologist for almost 2 years now, dedicating my life to the real sky. And we're talking about 13 signs because, yes, Ophiuchus does cross the ecliptic and has been there all along. And if all that sounds really new to you, well, I have a freebie down below called Unlock the New Zodiac, and you can get to know what the true sky is really all about. And there's also a link to a free chart calculator that you're going to want to click on in order to get your information and find out where your personal planets are, where the outer planets are, what constellation are they truly in. That way you can follow along and play along and keep an eye on if you have anything in any of the constellations. So just comment below and say, I'm playing along. Give me a thumbs up so I know you're there. Or you could say the Zodiac Unlocked if this is your first time unlocking the new Zodiac. So now let's pull up the stars. Okay, so as we look at the sky and where is that moon? Well, if you look at the image up on the screen, we've got the moon in Aquarius. Yes, it's right there on that red line. That red line is called the ecliptic, and that is the path all of our planets follow, which are orbiting the sun. They might be a little bit above or below. And here we have the moon right there in Aquarius. Now, if you look down below that, there's something called, looks like Fomalhaut, but it's really pronounced Fomalo. There in Piscis Austrinus, different from the full-on Pisces, which is on the right side of the screen. Fomalo is one of the royal stars, and that's going to become important once we get over to the sun side of things. So there are two sides to this, because a full moon means that the moon is opposite the sun, and the earth is what's casting a shadow because they're lined up just so. And this is a partial lunar eclipse. So then we also can see we've got Saturn in Pisces. Now, going back to the moon in Aquarius, this is going to be pulling out and revealing secrets and what's been hidden in order to move humanity forward, because that's what Aquarius is all about. He's the water bearer, not water himself. And it's about making things better for individuals, for groups, and for communities. And with the shadow coming on the moon itself, it's just highlighting what still needs to be transformed so we can shine even brighter. And then in Pisces, we have Saturn. Saturn is an earth sign. Pisces is a water sign. And it is saying, hey, we can make something from our dreams, from our intuition, and our psychic selves. All water signs really designate that there's something psychic going on here, whether it is a planet or the sign itself. Very much being the spiritually minded person. So all of that is on that side of the sky. But the moon is what we're most interested in today, right? And with that connecting to that formula, which represents the royal star of the south, which is also known as an archangel star, and that is Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel blows his horn, right? So it's very much amplifying what's going on the other side of the sky, which is what I'm going to show you next. Reading left to right, we've got at the very, very, very corner, that little blue dot just below the red line of the ecliptic. That is Spica, which is a star of good fortune in Virgo. That is where she's holding her bundle of wheat. So it's prosperity and good fortune and good luck and reaping rewards. And right next to that is Venus, and she's moving in the direction of Spica. Remember, these move counterclockwise or right to left as they travel through the stars as the backdrop. And over at the center, here is our sun, which the moon is reflecting in Leo. And in just a week before this, or I should say about 5 days before this moon, that is when the sun was conjunct the fixed star Regulus. And this is the royal star of the north, also called Watchers. There are 4 of them, one for each direction. So the royal star or Watcher of the north, Regulus, which is all about royalty, and his archangel is Archangel Raphael. So Raphael was a healer and had great ability there, very much along the creative energy healing lines that a lot of energy healers can tap into, that Regulus, whether they have a placement there or not. It was just a strong sense of making things better. What you can't see in the sky are the nodes, because the north node resides in Aquarius and the south node resides in Leo. And what the nodes are, it's where the sun and moon cross and where the eclipses always happen, right near one of those nodes. And the southern one, that is very powerful way of connecting with your spiritual past. If you believe in reincarnation, that would bring in your wisdom and your knowledge from a previous life as well. So where you came from as a spirit, as a soul being embodied here. And then, and in the sign of Cancer, we've got Jupiter. Jupiter is still in Cancer at this time and will be until September. So we are going to be looking forward to that change of when Jupiter goes through Leo, because Cancer is a smaller sign on the ecliptic. So Jupiter is only in Cancer for about 3 months over this summer. And then finally, when we keep going over to the right-hand side on the edge there, we've got Mars in Gemini. So Mars is that action taker, the act first and ask questions later type of character. And he's there to show you what you need to do, especially in regards to what do you need to learn, what do you need to try and become. But let's take a deeper look here, because when we zoom in, we could see in Leo right there with it, smack dab next to it, is Mercury. Mercury and Sun are completely conjunct at 20 degrees of the true sky, true sidereal software. And I've shown you the time here. This is Central Time in the United States. So they're very much conjunct right around noon. So we wouldn't see them. They'd be obviously above the sky. And whenever a planet conjuncts the sun like this, it can be known as cazimi, which means that the sun is basically charging up that planet, and whatever messages you're receiving and whatever is happening in the light of the sun itself. And the sun represents your spirit embodied here on Mother Earth. Even the symbol, the little dot, that's your physical body, and the circle around it, guess what? That's your aura. And without that, you're dead. So it represents the spirit, whereas the moon represents your soul. So your soul is where you hold your memories of your past life and your true purpose. Your spirit is that part of the divine that is light and love and all good things. Okay. Now, let's look at the chart, because we've got something amazing happening here. At the very top of the chart, that's where we see that north node, the sort of the upward facing, the horseshoe with the bump facing up right next to the moon, because it's an eclipse. And that is in an Aquarius. And as we follow that red line all the way down, that is representing the three parts here. We've got the south node, which we talked about, and the sun and Mercury all together. And that north node in Aquarius, well, that's the stuff that lights you up. That's what excites you and about your role here in the moment. You also have that in your birth chart, and that is your guide to discovering what your true purpose is. One of the pieces of the puzzle is how you feel about whatever task. Now, it can be frightening, but frightening in a good way, because you're being challenged. But if you need to take time to rest between challenges, you would lean more into the energy of the south node. So depending on where you are right now, you might be leaning to one, or you might be balancing them both in the center, which is where you are, where Mother Earth resides, okay? And also, if you want to support me down below, like I said, I do true sidereal astrology, and you can learn more about that at astrology.harmonygoddess.com. Now, there's a lot to look at here. So that's the main thing. The second thing I want you to look at is on either side of the moon in Pisces, and then on the other side in Capricorn, we have two of the outer planets, and Neptune is in Pisces. Yeah, it's nowhere near Aries, nowhere near it. It'll be years before it gets into Aries. And that is connected through what's called a sextile, that little blue line connecting that to Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto represents power. Pluto represents facing the reality of where you are in your life if you were to die today, and face, your review of your life and how it weighs against what your soul had planned for you, and whether it's time to move on or not. But here on Mother Earth, anytime the moon goes over something like that, it is a reality check for a lot of people who are working their path and know that they have a finite amount of time here in the physical before they move on to spirit. So it represents powers, and it's in Capricorn, which is an earth sign. And earth signs represent what is manifesting here on the planet. And every time the moon crosses over that, it's activating it over and over again with that Plutonian energy, which it carries all the way through and then into Aquarius and saying, hey, what are we activating this time until it hits the next planet and combines with that planet, and then it carries that energy forward and so on and so forth as it goes around. So both of these are pointing down, and of course the moon is pointing directly at that Sun and Mercury combo in Leo, making this a yod, or finger of God, goddess, universe, the force be with you, whatever. We have a yod formation, which means this could be some very real world activities that are going to be happening, especially in regards to sovereignty, in regards to humanity, that could possibly be, started and ignited by the blood moon. And like I said, those shadows are coming out like they haven't been already. If you're in the United States, we are on a karmic time because Pluto is basically where it was when the United States formed. Real world intensity, real world transformation, real world alchemy in the physical. This is when things shift in the real world on Mother Earth. This is a spiritual force that takes 248 years to go all the way around the sun. So it's slow moving, and what it leaves behind, especially in an earth sign, is very, very real and very, very permanent. And on the other side, we've got the spiritual dreamers coming together with their dreams, with what do they want to take forward and how to activate that using that power of Mercury and the Sun. Now, Mercury is that great communicator. Mercury is the one who shines, the one who is, dancing in the heavens, sparkling, going from sign to sign and going retrograde 3 times a year, just to be sure he's getting the messages right that he needs to deliver to humanity. And that's his job. That is pretty much his main job. And they say he's associated with commerce as well, because there's this give and take, and especially in these days when so much is done through these systems rather than just getting on a horse and trotting to the next village and pulling a cart. We're using these systems that our minds have made and bringing that into being. And that's part of Aquarius's job too, only on a higher level, more of the divine inspiration, more of the bigger blueprint. And it's a powerful moon for that. So the next little bit I want to mention, other than the yod, is Uranus making a square to the sun and to the moon. That's called a T-square. And really doubling down on what the other outer planets, which he is in a creative basket as. Now, depending on how you calculate things, what's called the Barbo's basket, which I call the cauldron of Caradwyn. Also, this continued over into Cancer and connected with Jupiter there, but that's not the case anymore. Jupiter has let go. So it's more back to just the outer planets and not our social planets involved with this. More of the divine intention and the plan for your life, the energies of the true connections, of the true vibrations from the planets, and soaking in that energy of the star field that they're in, which I believe everything here is divinely inspired. This is a divine technology to help us live our lives in a spiritual manner here on Mother Earth. And that T-square is saying we need to act. Now remember, Uranus is in Taurus, right? So very much at the beginning part of Taurus, almost reaching halfway here. But Uranus in Taurus is like this big receiver of these outer messages from, and especially because he's trine Pluto, they are working together in a big way and creating things from the dreams that Pisces is bringing in from Neptune. Neptune is bringing that dream up and stirring up Pisces and stirring things up from the collective subconscious. So this is a time where we're saying, okay, the blood moon is going to really reveal some things that have been hidden. And on the other side, we're going to have this great urge to communicate in a big way using our full spirit and our full soul. Because you know what? The moon represents your soul, also represents your heart. And they have found that there are systems in the heart, nerve systems that hold your memory, that also receive signals from outside of the body. Your heart is that divine receiver for what the universe has to tell you. And it is also, with every beat of the heart, it is connecting to the electromagnetic grid on Earth. This is why I do true sidereal astrology, because we can learn from science and astrophysicists what's really happening with the actual energies and vibrations of the universe. When you think about it, 250 years ago, we didn't even have electricity. And now look at where we are. And it's been growing exponentially in an amazing way. And I think the technology that we're being moved to develop are our psychic abilities and our connection through the heart, through the universe. We already have systems inside of us. So this is what's coming online. Some of you might feel urged to activate that and do some ritual around that. But I do also want to note our other personal planets are playing a role here. And that means Mars is taking a hand creatively with Sun and Mercury. Mars is in Gemini, which Mercury rules, and helping you to be bold and speak the messages and act on the messages you are receiving to make a bold change in honor of what's coming, because he's also trine the moon in Aquarius and the nearby North Node, bringing that humanitarianism online and into your life and your actions, especially around communications, around anything about traveling in local travel is going to be something you're probably going to want to look into, connecting with people in the real world, because all it takes is one satellite crashing into another and things can just go crazy up there and we could lose all of this technology. So finding your people where you live is going to be part of this. So Mars is giving you the strength and the courage to do that, even if you're in an area where you're pretty sure that the people near you aren't going to understand what you're talking about. You'd be surprised what I have discovered since I moved to the country and how many more people are open to things like astrology and the tarot. It's stunning. There are people everywhere who are tapping into this because we are all being awakened. And our other personal planet that's being activated here is Venus. And Venus is getting in touch with Saturn. And as we know, Saturn is that timekeeper, and it's keeping time there in the land of dreams. And Saturn doesn't have the greatest sense of time in the land of dreams, but that means you can do some time slips and do what you need to do and have enough time to do it, or skip ahead or jump timelines, whatever you want to call it. This is a time when Venus in Virgo is helping you to harness that more dreamy time quality, because that opposition of these two planets is basically going over Mother Earth as because that's how the connection works. They're physical planets and in physical spaces. And Virgo is not just about organization and tidiness and being nitpicky and judgmental. Oh no, she is the mother of galaxies. Astronomy has taught us that galaxies are being born within her body. And so now we have covered all the personal planets and we've talked about the connection between these. Now, I do want to say Mars is also square Neptune and square Saturn. So that is the connection that brings Venus and her opposition with Saturn. And there's going to be a lot asked of Saturn at this time, really relying on the timekeeper to help us get things done on time, even in this crazy realm of this fluid energy that we are in. And yes, the pressure is going to be mounting in the days before this, before the big release. Think of it as a bow is pulling back, and we've got our arrow notched, and that is the yod, and that is going directly to the sun in Leo. Let's step back a little bit and take a look and see what's going on with Jupiter. That's right, Jupiter in Cancer is connecting to Saturn. So, where Saturn helps people create things through hard work, discipline, and being held accountable and being a responsible person, Jupiter is the one who brings the luck, who brings grace and divine insight into what things are happening. He is our guru of the galaxy, and he is trine Saturn, adding that flow and that extra oomph from the realm of Cancer, because these sort of are considered realms. That's why they have rulers. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. He is held up as this kind, beautiful one. And this is a time when Jupiter is at his most benefic. And Saturn in Pisces, well, what people call malefic or difficult, guess what? He's a little bit more chill there and allowing things to go with more flow. And the other connection that Jupiter is making is even though he's no longer sextile Uranus, he is opposite Pluto still. So still hanging on to Pluto and bringing his big cauldron energy, which he has now taken. He represents Guyen Bak in the tale of Guyen Bak, the story of Caradwyn chasing him. She is beginning the chase here. She's coming around. That's the moon as Caradwyn is going to come around, and really cool things are going to be happening with that. Yeah. So Guyen Bak is now taking the elixir that has been brewing all summer long in that big Barbo's basket. And this is one of deep transformation, which is being revealed now. There are stories and myths revealing themselves to me in the sky. That is my work here on Earth. Okay. So I believe this with my whole heart, or I wouldn't be doing this. Okay. So with that opposition, there's that push and pull between the guru and, the god of the underworld and the god of death. So very big on transformation, and you don't get to go through. The only way to get past him is to go through. You have to go through the underworld to come out the other side. And right now the underworld is Capricorn. It's here on the earth. Okay. The final piece of the puzzle is something you're never going to see out of anybody who isn't a true sidereal astrologist. We have the galactic center over there at 12 degrees of Ophiuchus. That's right, the galactic center. And that is trine the sun and square Neptune. The galactic center is the seat of the divine. It is known for its healing and transforming and higher dimensional access to the gods, the God above, source, the one, the law of one, if you've heard of that. That's something I have not read that book, so I can't really speak to it. But I do believe that we are all one together in this universe, connected with energy, and we are the universe figuring itself out and experimenting and trying different scenarios to see how we get to the place of greatest love and greatest empathy and understanding that we're one and we're working together. And those connections matter because the galactic center is a black hole. It's where our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, of which our solar system is one tiny piece, was born. And there's a great beauty to this. And Black Moon Lilith, who holds the voices of all the outcasts within her to help create a better world by, sometimes she's going on the war front. Sometimes she is getting deep into the musical mysteries, but here she's in Ophiuchus connecting with the divine feminine, both light and dark, and bringing her energy into this moment as well, because she is over there at 4 degrees, you know, basically less than 10 degrees from the galactic center. So that's considered conjunct. So give or take. Now, that is not an actual planet, it is a point, but the galactic center, it is a black hole called Sagittarius A. It is a real body of matter in the universe, okay? So that is the magic of the true sky. So I promised that I would tell you a thing or two about how you can use this energy for yourself and also stay grounded with it. And along with that, I want to let you know I have been working behind the scenes on a secret project, which will be revealed shortly. So if you can grab Unlock the New Zodiac, which will sign you up for my email list, you will be the first to know when that secret project comes live. And it has to do with how you figure out how this energy is working for you and where in your life it's hitting you, because everything comes back to your moon placement in the true sky. Mine is conjunct to my Mars. So yeah, I tend to be very emotional, and when I take action, it's from the place of my heart and soul. Think about it, heart and soul, that is a thing. And it's in Taurus. So, I'm vibing to whatever is being transformed through this T-square to the sun and the moon during this lunation. So you want to take a look and see what sign yours is in. And even if it's in something like Aries, where there's no visible connection, you still have a role, and just listen to what your heart has to say. Because all of these messages, all this energy is all surrounding you. So pick one single thing and start simple. And you can decide what is it you want to change in your life. So this big energy comes just twice a year. This is your opportunity to flip the script. And because we're going through Leo season, this is a time to maybe be a little bit creative, draw, paint, write some poetry, dance, sing a song, make up a song, write a song, do whatever creative thing that you feel like you're being called to do, connecting with that sun, which is shining down on all of us. And we're always getting that energy from the sun. So you can always rely on that. And Mercury is with him. And it is that solar energy that is enlivening your heart, connecting to Mother Earth, keeping you grounded. Always remember, if you get too much in your head, bring it down into your heart and into Mother Earth through your legs and down your spine, and connect to Mother Earth. Tell me down below if you would like me to do a guided meditation here on YouTube on how to center and ground and shield yourself energetically, because I would love to talk about that as well. When you are choosing things, like I said, it can be one very simple thing. Is it a habit you want to change? Is there something that has been tickling your brain? Just start small. Let it fill you as this moon gets full, and look for what the secrets your soul is telling you at that blood moon, and embrace what it's saying, and it harm none, including yourself. Do as thou wilt. That is the law of witches. And you can just make adjustments anytime you want, but from this full moon until the next new moon. Just be sure to check in with your heart and the universe and any spirit guides or spiritual path or spiritual teaching that resonates for you. Because even though I follow Goddess and I believe in the divine feminine, and I believe the divine feminine is coming in and getting a voice, because yeah, it's crazy how much women still aren't listened to. 100 years doesn't make a blip on the history of the misogyny and patriarchy in this country. So, but I digress. It's all about you and the moon. And if this resonated with you and you want to go deeper into working with the energy of the stars, then grab that free PDF, Unlock the New Zodiac, so you'll be the first to know when my secret project manifests, where I am revealing something so totally not mind-blowing, you don't want to miss it. And the link is right below. And now that you know how this Aquarius full blood moon makes the lion roar, you might be wondering just how this whole season in August of 2026, astrology for eclipse season, changes everything. Because when you combine what you just learned with what is in this video up here, it is way more powerful. And I will see you in that next video. Blessed be, namaste, and all that jazz. Toodles.